Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the Better Your Business Show. Learn from our panel of industry experts as we teach you how to better your business. I'm Natalie Espin, financial strategist and your host this morning. On our panel, we have the gorgeous Shanna Mavis and the professor himself, Mr. Todd Social.
Good morning, everyone. The music kind of threw me off. I'm ready to dance. If you're here, you're likely a business owner, and we know that you're a visionary. You are actively taking the steps to establish financial freedom and leave a legacy behind. You have goals, you have dreams, and you have the commitment to achieve them. But what you may not have, and why we bring this show to you, is to provide you access to experts who can provide real step-by-step instructions, a roadmap of sorts to help you reach your destination without falling prey to the mindset that you have to fail to succeed. Natalie and Todd, we always talk about this here, but we know that failure is not required.
And I'm changing the scenery today because we all know that building a business doesn't come with correct instruction manuals. It's always complex, but at the end of the day, we strive for one single goal, and that is to help you better your business.
That's right. So whether you are joining us live or watching the replay, make sure you go to pillar5.com and take your free business assessment and then join us so we can answer any questions or comments that you have throughout the show.
Yeah, I'm excited about today. I've got the music in my head, so I'm still going to be dancing throughout the show, I feel like. Okay. But in real life,
you guys see Carlton behind the scene dancing in the back?
Super excited. Actually, we have a great reason. We have a reason to dance today. The guest today is an amazing person. She's an amazing woman. We were talking about her before the show started, and she's so well-rounded. A lot of people, I didn't even realize, just the breadth and depth of skill that she has in so many different areas and all of the experience that she brings to the table. You talk about something and then don't be surprised if she knows something about it or has experience and offers so much wisdom. And good morning, Masha. But yeah, I'm super excited about who we have. I don't know who's going to reveal it, but I'm going to let it be a secret.
All right. Well, I'll bring her in. So we have Keisha King Brown joining us. She is the Executive Vice President for AI Strategy, and she's also the COO of I Do Systems. She's awesome. She is a boss, and I am so excited to have her on the show this morning as well. So let's bring Keisha King Brown into the studio. Woo woo.
Hi, Keisha.
Hey, good morning.
Hey.
We're happy to have you here with us.
Happy to be here.
Talk about some collaborating and strategizing first thing on a Monday morning.
That'll wake you up.
That's right. Legends are made up.
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, just tell us a little bit about you and how did you get into Sales Mastery, the AI, and then even into ID Systems? How did your journey take you over here? I'm excited to hear.
Yeah, so I have like that non-traditional career path journey, right? So most of my career was spent in senior leadership roles in retail. But I was always focused on really trying to get into understanding that customer lens and digging really deep to understand their behaviors, what were they focused on, how can we connect to that with a strategy, to the degree that I was always told, Keisha, we don't do that here. We don't do that here. That's kind of the one that always went rogue, right? I would always really help my team to understand how to connect differently, even if it was down to the level of understanding their culture and build these strategies, do all these different things. And so when I came out of retail and I was rebranding myself, I saw Sales Master AI, somebody from there on LinkedIn. And so I was building my network and I reached out and I just was like, kind of, hey, I saw what you were doing, with data and AI, and I just want to kind of get to know you better and all these different things. And I was talking to them, I'm like, oh my goodness, like you're doing what I was trying to do manually and so tediously with technology. And if I had that, how much easier would my life have been? So, we just started talking and we built a relationship, and just over time, we got to know each other. And initially, after I started my consulting business, I collaborated my consulting business with the company for a little bit. And then at some point, we just both said, like, why are you doing that? Like, why are you doing this collaboration with your consulting business? Why don't you just come aboard and work for us? And so that's how I got started with Sales Master AI, is just kind of that same focus, that same vision around what I was doing and transferable skills. And here we are. So that was that. And kind of a similar story with Pillar 5 and I Do Systems, rebranding myself, playing around on LinkedIn, build my network, and Carlton saw him and I saw Pillar 5 and I said, they're doing something with technology too. Let me see what he's doing. And I think at the time they were calling Pillar 5, the Fitbit of business or something. I said, oh, that sounds interesting. I wonder what he's got going on. So I reached out to Carlton and I said, hey, looks like you're doing something cool with technology and business. And I'd love to hear more about it. Are you open to meeting? Because he was actually local at the time. We met at a Starbucks. I think we were at that Starbucks for like 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. Just talking business, right? Like just talking business, understanding each other's backgrounds and everything like that. And the rest is history. So
awesome. I love it. So you're really into the tech component. That's what really intrigued you.
Technology is kind of my jam. So when you combine technology with other things I love, like business and customer perspective, you kind of have my attention.
Yeah, and I love how you talk about the strategic collaboration and how you really, I feel like every time that I'm talking to you, you're really diving deep into getting to know that person's needs. And it was very interesting to me when we were chatting about it earlier, how that was so different, which was surprising to me that that's so different, because you would think in any type of industry where you're working with the public, that would be the norm, I would think, right?
Yeah.
Needs-based selling, and we wonder why people don't like to be sold, right?
Right.
So that's very intriguing. I love that you took the time to do that. Was that a hard skill to transfer?
No, it really wasn't a hard skill to transfer. For me, if you think about kind of if anybody knows the Clifton Strengths Finders, relator is my number one strength. And so that's easy for me. My whole career, that was kind of a natural go-to for me when I think about, how do I grow my business? If you go all the way, don't try to figure out my age, but if you go all the way back when I was in retail, before I was a senior leader and I was a store manager, and I'm at Best Buy and my appliance department is down, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do to get my appliance department up, right? How am I going to partner with this, supervisor? And the first thought that pops into my head is, realtors. Let's partner with realtors. Realtors show houses. Houses need appliances. So I formed this partnership with realtors, and I literally went home and I created some brochures and I gave them to the realtors to put in these houses and to give out to people. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give them a discount if they buy the appliances from here, right? Like collaboration outside of the store. It's not something that they just did at Best Buy, right? It's just something that I thought of, and it drove business to the store, right? And it benefited the realtors, because then we would also refer to that particular realtor if people were in the store and they needed a realtor. So it's just always been a thought process to me. To me, it just makes sense. Like, it's a win-win.
Yes.
And to me, when you collaborate with another organization or business, the growth is so much more exponential than when you just get a client, right? And relationships are so much more fun than a sale.
Mm-hmm.
So
Definitely. I love that. And I bet even the homeowners were just thrilled anyway, right? They got that added value. And so they love the real estate agent. They love the whole everything about it. That was great. I love that. What an idea.
Yep.
That was really smart.
Yeah, anything that provides one less thing to worry about is beneficial. And when I was thinking about that, it makes me want to dive a little bit deeper into Sales Master. We talked about this before, and I don't want to give my explanation of it because we've got an expert here. So I would love for you to talk about Sales Master and the benefit, because I know that it plays into the entire even the pillar 5 story. You're going to need a sales master. You're going to need tools and platforms and technology. So I would love for you to explain what it is and how it benefits the business owner who's trying to bootstrap their company, who's trying to go it alone right now. We'll talk about coaches later, but if you're trying to go it alone, or even if you've got someone on your team, how does sales master benefit them?
Yeah, yeah. When I think about the Sales Master platform, we talk about being able to simplify and, optimize growth by systemizing the entire end-to-end sales and marketing process for business owners. And that's what that platform does. It's everything in one platform, but it doesn't have to be everything you don't need or don't want, right? We can customize it to you. So if you need, email, text, voicemail drop automation, that's in there for you. You want your landing page or your website in there? It's in there for you. If you want your templates built in there for you, surveys in there for you, if you want e-signature, if you think like DocuSign, that's in there for you. If you're a coach, if you have a coaching business and you want courses and learning management system, that's in there for you. If you love reputation management, which you should, by the way, for Google reviews and Trustpilot, that's in there for you. If you do Google ads, that can be tied to that. But you know what? They're not upsells, right? That's one of the differentiator. We don't upsell that stuff for you. That's all included in the price, but we don't want you to have to click out of this particular software and go over here and then come back and then go here. We really do want to simplify it for you. And there's so many things in there, I probably can't even name them all because then we run out of time for the show. But Sales Master has everything in there for the business owner. We want to take the headache away from you. But the other thing we want to take away from you is you spending all your time just focused on doing all the mundane tasks that it can really do for you. So you can spend more time building those relationships and doing those collaborations, or spending more time at the soccer game with your kid or whatever else you want to do, right? Sales Master really can take care of that for you. And in most cases, it's going to reduce the cost that you're spending on whatever you're currently using. And oh, by the way, it's AI powered. And so AI is going to do what I was talking about before, all that tedious work I was doing, trying to figure out and learn all this stuff about the customer and their behaviors and what they like, what they don't like, how they feel about it. AI is going to do that for you. And it's optimizing at all times. So it's continuing to learn and get better and better and better to make those processes better for you. In addition to just having all the automations for Sales Master platform as well. So
that is awesome. And I mean, I've worked in the platform, so I understand from just the user side how simple and easy it is to use. But there's something that you said that I didn't even realize was in there, and I would love to talk about that as a concept. And I want to hear Todd's feedback on this too, because you said relationship management, and you said it's something that you should care about. I didn't even know that was in there, so that's amazing. But why is that something that business owners should know about and care about? Can we talk about relationship management?
yeah, or relationship management or reputation management. Yeah, because that's where you're getting the feedback from your customers, right? That's where you're understanding how they feel about what you're doing and getting that feedback on a regular basis. It's what we used to call kind of not too long ago the customer feedback loops, right? And if you have that in your platform, you don't have to try to remember, oh, I need to try to go get feedback from that customer we got, so that we need to know, do we need to change something with our service, or is there a common theme that we're getting this feedback on, positive or negative? If it's positive, great, let's keep doing it. If it's not, and we're not getting the feedback, we don't know about it, and we don't know why we're declining in sales, or we don't know why, our customer lifetime value is not so great, right? So if you're getting consistency of these reviews, and oh, by the way, they're automated for you because it's in the platform. You don't have to remember to go get them. They're just automated, right? You're getting these consistent reviews and consistent feedback. You are now taking partnership with your customers around your service or your product along that journey, and they're helping you for the future of what that looks like, and they feel like they have involvement and they're engaged, and now they're invested, and you can improve customer retention, right?
Which we all want that retention. So to me, when I hear Keisha, you talk about this, or Shanna talk about how easy this is, it's like, of course you guys will say it's easy. Of course you will. But for someone like myself that isn't into technology, when I look at a platform like this, it's very overwhelming. So, what would be something that separates Sales Master, or, do they have additional training programs, stuff like that? Yeah. I just throw my assistant in front of it, tell her figure it out, watch some videos.
Yep. So there's options, right? So there's the do it yourself, and I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't want to do it myself. There's the done with you, so kind of that mid level where maybe you want to do some of it, but you want us to do a little bit of it for you. And then there's the complete done for you, where we'll literally do everything. We'll do all of it for you, so that you don't have to worry about what I call the techno stress. Where we will set it all up for you. We'll set up there's sales funnels in there too, right? So we'll set up the sales funnels, we'll set up the templates, we'll set up the automation. We'll set all of that up for you. And then we'll partner with you along the way for whatever tweaks you need and all of that. And then you can all you have to do is go in there and check your KPIs and your numbers and make sure that everything looks good, and give us feedback along the way as we touch base with you to make sure that everything's looking good.
That is awesome.
And Natalie, I say it's easy, and I know why you called me out for that, because I use pretty much any software. You bring it, I will. I love it. I'm like Keisha with technology. Put it in front of me and let me, see it, because it's going to do so much more than I could do on my own, and faster. I just need to, plug in a few details. But I would recommend, if it's a person like you who's not that comfortable, get an expert. That's where, there are plenty of people who can use this, because it's so familiar. While it's robust, it's familiar, and we're used to that. They've taken a lot of the best features from different platforms and said, hey, this is what this is what our customers are saying they want. This is what they don't like about, this particular product or this particular platform. And they've modified it and they've made it really user friendly. But if you're not that comfortable, find someone there's so many people who could use this and do an expert job with it. But Keisha, there's one thing that you said in your response that I would love to, and Todd, unmute as quickly as you can if you have something to add to this, because I think it's important. You said customer lifetime value. And that's something I know that I ran into when I was in the Pillar 5 software. It's asking about my customer lifetime value. And I'm like, I know a lot, but I have no idea what this means. So can we talk about that for a little bit, and the importance of it to business owners?
Good question.
Yeah. So, basically, what value? So if you had to put a money based off whatever you service or product you sell, what's the value, the tangible value that you get from a customer over the time that they are a customer with you, right? So the lifetime of that customer. So not a transaction, right? Not just the term of a subscription, but for however long they are with you as a customer. Because somebody could renew a subscription, right? They could be buying products from you for years if you do a really good job keeping them and engaging them, as a company, right? And that's kind of your goal with customers, is to keep them engaged and keep them wanting to come back to you. If you think about, I'm going to default to a retail example. If you think about Nike, right? You think I'm going to use the example of Jordan. My son's name's Jordan, so he always has a pair. Okay, he's 7. I always buy them on sale. But as long as Nike and Air Jordan, the brand, don't do anything crazy, they probably gonna have me until he's old enough to buy his own, right? As long as I don't have a horrible experience or something like that, they're gonna keep me from a customer lifetime value standpoint. That's going to be a pretty long tenure that they're going to have me over, right? But what are you doing as a business owner to extend the tenure of how long that customer is loyal to your brand, your business, your company, and engaging with your services, buying your products? And how do you make that tangible and financial? How can you put that to the financials that you have, right? That's in simple terms, that's your customer lifetime value, right? And Todd, you can obviously add to that.
Well, I mean, to me, it's interesting that you have something that's AI that's also relationship based. And to have the component really should make entrepreneurs think differently in terms of the lifetime value. Because I don't think most entrepreneurs think about lifetime value. I think most think about the immediate sale and then, we'll go from there and figure it out. But it's interesting what you're saying about Sales Master, because if more consumers knew, they could actually determine their lifetime value and take time to build these components. Because I really think that what you're offering to the consumers or customers is a pathway to actually build their business incrementally and have continuous improvement over time. Because they can actually learn to have better relationships with their customers, which then will increase their lifetime value. So how does a person who, and this is probably a curveball question, because I know you beat me up all the time, Keisha, but you beat me up to lift me up, so I'm okay with that. You do. It inspires me, because you are a marketer's marketer. Like a lot of people don't know that about you. You are like the marketer's marketer. You see sometimes what people miss when people are trying to kind of do something, and you help them to navigate. So how do you help customers understand the power of Sales Master in terms of not necessarily getting them started in onboarding, but essentially how they can grow their business around Sales Master due to the fact you have so many things that are implemented inside of it?
We're going to take a quick break on that note. I hear the music. We're going to take a quick break and we'll come back. Great question. We're going to come back. We want to have the time allotted for that. So quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Keisha King Brown. Be back
Chris's business was growing and quickly adding employees. The company was taking off. When the company grew to more than 25 people, Chris hardly had time to do anything but deal with annoying employee problems. Fortunately, Chris found the abundant tools to keep the team organized and motivated. Now, delegating is easy and the company can keep growing. If you manage or advise a company like this one, visit abundant.com to learn more.
we are back with Keisha King Brown, Executive Vice President of AI Strategy and COO of ID Systems at Pillar 5. Welcome back. Welcome back. We had Todd just dropped us with an awesome question before we went to break. Do you want to re-ask it, Todd, or should we just jump in?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I should re-ask it. I think. So the question is really this: for people who are trying to actually grow their business and trying to really navigate all the nuances. There's so many tools that are out there, but Sales Master seems to answer all the questions, that someone might have. How do you help them to understand how important that is to their lifetime value of their customers so they can actually take the incremental steps to actually build it in? Because obviously, like Natalie said about the overwhelm, there's so much there that you might get overwhelmed and say, now I got to go get a bunch of people, or I got to hire you guys, which is going to take more time. But how do you get them to kind of pace themselves? Because I think what you have is really something that can help them pace themselves to success.
Yeah. So the first thing I would ask them, because I'm a questions-based person. First thing I ask them is, what are they spending most of their time doing right now? Right. And usually what they tell me is something that's really task-based, right? I'm like, okay. And then I'll ask them, what do they do that builds the most customer retention? And then they'll answer that question. And I'll say, okay. So then I'll walk them through how Sales Master can help them do more of that, the thing that helps them build more customer retention, right? And once I do that, I'll say, okay, and here's the only pieces in Sales Master AI that you would need based off what you told me to help you do that, right? You don't need this piece. You don't need that. You're not a coach. You don't need the LMS. You're not this. You don't need that. You don't need. So, right. So then I'm narrowing down for them. Here's the only pieces that you need. So then that brings off some of the overwhelm, right? Are you good at setting up these pieces? And then you can just tell by the look on their face if they are. Now they don't have the answer, right? All right, it's cool. We can set up those pieces for you. If you're comfortable with this, you do that part. That brings down some of the cost you want to pay us to set up that part, right? If you're comfortable with that, you can set up that part. But let's only focus on Sales Master AI takes away the parts that you're spending way too much time on, and you focus on what you just told me in your business builds the most customer retention, because that's what ties to customer lifetime value, right? But I, like with anything else, I walk them through questions-based approach, and then I use their answers to then help them understand how Sales Master AI can kind of put the puzzle pieces together specifically for them, right? Did that answer your question?
Sure did.
I feel like I want to change right now. Is that horrible? Can we set up a consultation? I mean, even just hearing it. Well, because I feel like, Todd, partly that question was for me, because how many times do we talk about it? I'm a little over here, a little over there, right? And I'm adding on this component here, adding on this component there, and I'm all over the place because, right, I don't have a platform, or at least I don't know if my platform has everything I need. No one's ever sat down and said, hey, let me customize this towards your business and what you do. The other thing too is anytime I have those types of questions with a lot of these tech companies, they want me to respond using technology, which is a challenge, right? As I'm sitting on the chat, I don't want to wait on chat or have to, right? Can I just call you, walk me through? And so, I mean, those are just, as a user, some of the challenges that I'm sure you're hearing this all day long from people, right? Some of the challenges that I have. So just thinking how it can be more effective, more efficient. And part of it too, I almost feel sometimes like, am I wasting money on things that I shouldn't be because of that? And when I hear you talk about the AI component, to me, like that, the relationship building, Todd, and you asked about that, I thought, okay, how do you do that with the AI? That's what I want to know. Because for me, I feel like that's a big part of my business, is keeping the communication in the relationship. So whether it's cards, messages for myself, messages from my assistant, emails, how can we do that using that AI more efficiently?
Yeah, so I mean, and the part you're talking about, so if you're talking about like the and I'm assuming you're saying cards, like you want to send like happy birthday notes or anniversary,
Yeah,
or
or annual reviews, or happy
yeah,
birthday.
yeah, that part is like the automation. the automation piece that you're setting up. So the AI, is kind of the umbrella term, right? So we use from an AI standpoint, we use machine learning part of AI. So if I break it down to like the simple part, it's the part of AI that allows computers to kind of act like humans, and improve their learning the more data you give them, right? So they're improving their learning the more data you give them. They can learn to make decisions and predictions without being directly programmed to do so. And then they'll use what we call algorithms. That are built into different models that can be applied to whatever you need it to be applied to, right? And the algorithms are just a set of instructions. That's all they are. So you hear people throw the word algorithm on all the time. It's just a set of instructions, okay? That they need to follow to complete a task, right? And as they get new data, they learn to optimize these processes, which just is improving their performance over time. They become more and more intelligent. And the difference with AI versus me or you or you or you is that AI learns at 2/3 the speed of light, right? So that's one of the benefits that you have, is that not only is it always learning, but it's learning at 2/3 the speed of light. And it can go and it can learn from all the data at what we always say is anywhere that's legal out there, and what my mom would probably say is in the interweb, right? Um, but we're not focusing on learning from actual people. We're not focusing on their demographics and all of that. We don't care about who the people are. We're not looking at personally identifiable information. We're just looking at behaviors. We just want to understand behaviors so that we can apply those behaviors, those sentiments, how they feel about things, and then, apply that to your services, your solutions, whatever.
Awesome.
One of the things, Keisha, I love that you ask questions as part of the process. I think that that's something that is missing. I love that that's what a coach or a consultant, that's that experience that they bring, what they bring to the table, because they're getting an understanding of, this individual business owner's needs, because my business looks different than Natalie's, than different than Todd's, than anyone else's that we talk to. And so having those questions asked, I think, to narrow down and really pinpoint what their needs are, I think is amazing. Not too many people do it. And I've noticed even in some like typical companies, it's frowned upon, asking questions to get in. People used to get, I used to drive them crazy because they're like, anyone have questions? And I'm like, oh, but yeah, I do. And they're like, of course you do. I mean, I literally heard that in one executive meeting. It was like, of course you do. And it's like, but why wouldn't you want people to have an understanding? But when you said that, what clicked to me is the process that you're going through. It reminded me of Pillar 5, for the business owner. Because it's asking questions, you're taking this information that they're giving you and you're saying, hey, here's what you need to do. This is what you need. This is the solution to this particular problem or this hurdle that you've got to overcome right now. So I love that. But it was just like you were just embodying Pillar 5 for a minute there when you were talking about, hey, there's questions that need to be asked in order for you to know what it is that you need to do or do next, or how you accomplish that. So I love that. Is that, I guess, is that, it feels like that's one of the things that might have made that more attractive, the relationship that you have with I Do and Pillar 5. It just seems like you're one of the perfect people to look at the operations of this, because of the way that it processes things.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, I absolutely do like that approach. That is one of the things I like about Pillar 5, is because they do the assessment first. We don't tell you where to start until we've asked the questions. You don't even start in the you can't even be in the platform until we ask you questions, right?
Yeah.
We're not making assumptions. There's no assumptions. No assumptions, right? And so that is one of the things that I love about it. And then we're guiding you the whole way based off the questions we're asking you. So that means we're taking you as a partner. We're collaborating with you on your journey all the way through the system. So yes, that is absolutely right.
I love it. I love it. Todd, you're quiet over there.
I feel like I'm getting the AI masterclass right now. You know, I feel like she needs like her own show, and it'd be like an AI masterclass because it sounds more like, you know, a lot of people, and Natalie could probably agree with this, a lot of people talk tech with you when it comes to like AI and stuff like that. So it creates an overwhelm because you're like, what are they even talking about? But I feel like you're simplifying the access to it so it makes sense to the everyday user, so they don't feel like, okay, I can't do this. Because usually when you say AI, and I know we talk about language all the time, AI sounds like, okay, I have to be like some master coder, or got to have like some 18-year-old sitting in the basement that's on his computer all day, that maybe is a video gamer that knows how to do this stuff in like 2 minutes. No, it sounds to me like if the business owner wants to have a better relationship with their customers or their clients, it's really about the relationship they have with the system too, that helps them to kind of navigate it. So I feel like I'm getting a master class, and I'm high fiving and all this stuff because Keisha makes it sound so simple.
Yes.
But it's still a lot, I believe, you know, to navigate, because the everyday user, we have to ask a powerful question here, because you ask good questions, Keisha, and I've actually seen you in action a couple times, and you ask really good questions. And I think that's a powerful thing for people to have a takeaway, is that if you don't have the questions asked of you, you should be asking the questions of yourself. So for people who may struggle with asking the questions, I know you ask really good questions. How do you help them arrive at finding the questions that are meaningful to them?
Again?
Basically, like, some people may struggle with the questions that you may ask, or may struggle with the questions in their head, right?
Yeah.
How do you help that person overcome that and arrive at those questions? Because I know you know how to pierce them and kind of get the questions right. But, you know, I'm thinking of the novice user that is wanting to kind of navigate their business to technology. They've heard about AI, they've heard about different software, maybe they've even tried different software. How do they get to the point where they're asking the questions of themselves? Because I think if you help them navigate that, then that makes them want to use it that much more. And how do you help them to close that gap? Because I got questions right now that I probably would have never asked had I not listened to you. And it's making me,
It's
I'm
like
not
we don't know what
overwhelmed.
we don't know.
Right.
Yeah, like,
Yeah. I think in that case, I have to do sometimes like what I do with my son, when he can't, he's either too frustrated or he just can't see what I'm talking about with the situation. I have to take it away from the situation, right? And ask different questions, or talk about a scenario that's not related to him, or something like that. So in those situations, I'll stop talking about the technology, and I'll just ask them, to Shanna's point, questions like a coach would ask them. Then we just go back to just regular basic questions and just talk about pain points, right? We just talk about pain points, or we just talk about their customer, or I might ask them for examples of situations that have happened in their business recently, because then I start relying on my strengths. And one of my strengths is connecting the dots between things.
sure.
And I can just take the answers they're giving me around those different things. Okay, here's some examples of things that have happened in your business recently. Okay, here's some pain points that you've shared with me. Okay, here's some examples of your customers. Okay, here's some examples around you and how you interact with your leaders. Here are some examples of your day-to-day. Based off all the things you just told me, this is what you need. And then I'll just tell you based off what you answered that had nothing to do with the technology, because that might overwhelm you, or you can't separate the two, or you get, you just can't have those same kind of conversations. So I think there's different ways to ask questions in a way where maybe they can't follow me on the same journey, but I can still connect the dots because I still understand the technology, right? And I still have a little bit coach's brain as well. Um, and so I just have to approach it. Sometimes you can't door, you just got to go on the side door or through the screen porches. You just have to go a different, you just have to go from a different direction. Right? You just have to take a different approach.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds reasonable to me. Again, this is just a masterclass. I feel like anybody who's going to listen and see this, they better understand that this is definitely taking the guesswork out. So instead of guessing, you should be asking those questions. So thank you for that, Keisha.
Yeah, I love the breakdown of algorithms. I love simplifying things because a lot of times, and I understand a lot of tech talk, but we need it broken down to just simplify it. Let's stop tech talking. Let's stop with the jargon. Let's just talk about things as they are. It doesn't have to be as complicated, because as business owners, we have so much, so many other things that we have to worry about, or that we don't understand, or that we can't. So I love that you're bringing that, simplicity to it. One of the questions that came up was, can a single entrepreneur use this platform, or will it take a group of people to man the different components? Because you said it's robust, covers, a wide gamut of things. You mentioned surveys, forums, LMS. You mentioned website, analytics, relationship management. So can one person do all of this, or do they need a team of people, a group of people, to look at the different components?
Yeah. Absolutely. A solopreneur can use it. I have clients right now that are solopreneurs that use it. I have one who is a coach. I have one who is a like a author, and she does something else. And they use the platform. Again, it's customized to you, right? And so literally what we do, when I say it's customized to you, if you don't need those other aspects of the platform, we turn them off. You won't even see them. They're not there. And so it's not like you have LMS in there. You just don't have to use them. You don't even see LMS. It's shut off.
That's
right?
amazing.
So it's not overwhelmed to you. We only turn on the elements of the platform that you personally need to use. And so it's customized for you as a solopreneur. Yeah, so it's absolutely. That's why we have the ability to work with any level business, from a solopreneur all the way up to the enterprise level, because of the level of customization that we can do. And it's also industry agnostic. Doesn't matter what industry you're in either.
So Keisha, does SalesMaster replace the need for a CMO?
It does not replace the need for a CMO now. But if you're a business that depends on what size business you have. So if you're like a solopreneur, you're not going to need a CMO anyway, right? But if you think about a CMO does very different things. And again, depending on the size of your company, they could also be doing things like branding, right? Which you're not going to get branding from a platform. Now the Sales Master package that you get also comes with the Social Master platform, which is pretty cool. So you can do your social media in that platform, which allows you to schedule it out like Hootsuite. You can design things like Canva. but it's smart, right? So I use it, of course. For those of you who connect with me, you see me posting. It tells me, Keisha, on Monday, you need to post Facebook at 9:30 in the morning, but it needs to be a motivational post. And on Tuesday at 1 p.m., you need to post an educational post. And, it'll tell me specifically because it's looking at engagement. It's telling me when I'm going to get the best engagement for what type of post at what time. That's included in the Sales Master package. Again, it's not upsell, right? Link Master, which is for LinkedIn lead generation, also included in the Sales Master package, not an upsell. So you do get like the lower level things. So, those kind of things help you with a little bit of branding, help you with a little bit of marketing. But the level that a CMO does, if your company's at that level, it's just going to take the tedious and task-based things off of their plate. It's not going to replace a CMO.
So with the ability for you to shut off components, right? Like Natalie was saying, if I come to it, I might be overwhelmed because I've got this. And you're saying, hey, you don't even have to see a lot of the stuff that you're not going to deal with. But since it takes the guesswork out of growth, as I'm growing, is it as simple as, hey, now I need surveys, so I can turn that component back on with no issue?
You just let us know, hey, now I need to use this, and we'll turn it back on.
That's awesome. I love that. I think that's going to be so helpful because so many people are afraid to look at it. I'm like, bring it. Show me everything. I will not use what I don't need, but I want to see it all because I might just try it. That's my Friday night. But for those people that are just like, hey, I know that business owner mindset where we've got so much going on pretty much at all times that it's just like, I need to focus. So I love that it brings that component in there and that you're asking the questions to make sure that I'm getting what I need right now. And then as I grow with it, that relationship is there that I can just reach out and say, hey, I need to do this. Can you help me with that? Because we didn't even know that the LMS component was included in there until, we talked, because it's like, oh, we need to do this course. Awesome. We're looking all around because that was one of the questions I had. Where are we going to put it? And then Carlton came back with, hey, we can do it in Sales Master. We're going to set up a meeting. And you guys walked us through. Here's exactly how you'll use it. And I was shocked, because again, that was an area that I didn't know existed, but it was there when we needed it. So that was, it's pretty amazing that the thought that's gone into this, that just from the customer perspective.
So it almost seems to me like as you grow, if you're a solo entrepreneur or startup or whatever the case may be, as you grow, you can actually add components that can help accelerate that growth. So you're adding a team, but you're also making your team members smarter by adding those components. Is that kind of accurate?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. I get it now. Masterclass, I'm telling you. Oprah Winfrey all the way. Masterclass. That's where you
Are
need.
you making them smarter or more effective? No, because, hey, if you can say that you're making someone smarter, I bet we can sell a whole bunch of packages. But no, it makes it more efficient and effective, right?
Yep.
I guess that is smarter.
That's making them smarter.
All right, Todd, I gave that to you right after you heard me say, yeah, I
She
guess
gave it back. She gave it back.
yeah.
That's what they want to feel. That's that dopamine high. I'm smarter now because I got Sales Master AI. There you go. Boom.
It's true, Todd. I would feel that way, especially if I'll be like, Sales Master's doing its job and I'm sitting on the beach drinking a margarita. Go Sales Master. I'm a genius. That's what I'd be saying. Genius.
Tehran said he's getting smarter already. I love it.
Do they have starting packages?
The starting package is the do-it-yourself package. Yeah.
Okay. So like if we went to Salesmaster AI, or it's salesmasterai.com right now, would it just have us
Salesmaster.ai.
Salesmaster.ai, would it have it just sign us up for a consultation first, or?
Yes. Yeah, because we want to make sure that you don't get something that doesn't make sense for you, and we understand exactly what you need and get it set up right for you.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I know that there's a whole bunch more that we could ask you. And I also know that we're running out of time to ask you all of these questions, because with your consulting experience, with your retail experience, I mean, you've just done so many things. I guess I'm curious why, if, you're in the Fortune companies, I mean, in like Fortune 50, right? You were in that level of Fortune and pretty high up managing teams of people. But then you went completely opposite and said, I'm going on my own.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge move that not too many people would make. And so there's a reason that happened. Why did that switch happen for you?
Yeah, that switch would be called Jordan. So
I love
I
it.
was I was already I was pretty blessed to be, top performing, like top 5% in both the companies that I worked for. And, so I was traveling back and forth to the headquarters of the companies, working on company level projects and things like that. And just, there's travel with that, right? And so the roles offered above that, that's like a lot more travel. And what I wanted was, as my son got a little older at the time, he was about to go into preschool. He was about to be 4 and going to preschool, and next came kindergarten. I want to be able to be there, right? I want to be able to have flexibility, and if I wanted to go, see whatever he was going to be doing, whatever activities, I wanted to be able to be there and have control of my schedule. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to do that in the roles that I had in the career that I currently had. So I left and came out of retail. And now I have the ability to do that, make my own schedule, and I'm at Taekwondo a lot. Taekwondo a lot. And if he has, a play at school, or if he has field day during the day at school, like, I'm there. And so, I have the ability to have both without sacrificing that. So that's kind of how that happened.
So do you think that makes you, from that perspective, when you were consulting, did that factor in, that I guess it's that grace and understanding as you're working with business owners who are in, similar boats. It's just like, I can't work for myself for this reason or that, or I want to work for myself because I don't want that corporate world. Did your experience with that, did you notice that helped a lot of the business owners that you worked with, your understanding of their world a little bit more?
Um, I think it helped with the females. I think the males, they just have a mindset they just have in most cases. you know. Um, I think having a corporate strategy mindset probably helped, but like the whole, flexibility and all that, I think, there's just I think in most cases there's just a difference there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I agree, Keisha. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like
Yeah.
you brought the best of both worlds with that corporate strategy mentality and experience, with the understanding and grace of an entrepreneur, because now
Right.
you're in that world. I couldn't imagine having a better coach. It's that Colette Portis level coaching, because
Right.
you've got all of this experience and you're bringing it to them, but you're an entrepreneur yourself now. So
Right.
there's grace and understanding that
Right.
get outside of that. So I love it.
Yeah.
Good point,
Yeah,
Shanna.
sure.
Well, I
Awesome.
know
Any last questions before we wrap it up, Mr. Social?
Because I'll keep asking questions. Like I said, this is a master class. I'm doing my job. I'm listening. I'm sitting back learning, because I'm trying to get smarter here. So I feel like I got a little bit smarter today.
Me too.
Me too.
Surely. I never really understood what an algorithm was, so that was exciting for me. You broke it down like nothing, Keisha. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It was awesome hearing more about you, your story, and Sales Master, learning more about the product too. It sounds awesome. I'm excited to check it out further. So any takeaways for you today, Miss Shanna?
Absolutely. I loved hearing about the customer lifetime value, because that's really something that I understand what each of the words mean, but in context, I never really understood the how to answer that question in pillar 5, and even walking clients through that, it's like, oh, okay, let me click on the information. So getting a better understanding of that, and how it will help me, as I move forward, was really great for me.
I loved that too. How about you, Todd?
My takeaway?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a lot to unpack. Like you said earlier, there's overwhelm, but there's actually education here. So I understand more now what Keisha is always talking about when it comes to education. Because the thing about it is that if you're trying to get smarter, there's only 2 ways. Access to something that gives you information, or someone that gives you access to information. Keisha does that, and Sales Master does that combined. And so people who want to be smart in marketing or smart in relationship management should pay attention to this and pay attention to Keisha, because I believe that will save people time in their growth.
That would be mine too, I think, Todd.
So
that was the biggest thing for me. Yeah, that was the biggest thing for me too, is how can we leverage it to have more time? And I love that they have the consultation approach with it, because it just makes, if you don't need these things, right, it's just out of the picture. So I'd loved that. So
yeah, that's going to be huge for so many business owners, Natalie, because you're not alone in that. I think I'm, one of the anomalies as far as, I am digging it. Give it all to me. Anything technology, I want to see it. I want to touch it. I want to, try all of the things, but it is tremendously it would be no different than you talking all financial stuff to me. My mind, and I know certain bits, but when you think of, all that goes into financial planning, I would be like, no, hard pass. I give me this. But knowing that you can shut off some of those components to really allow you to focus on what is most important to you, I think is huge. And it's going to help so many business owners that are kind of struggling with, this tool or that tool, or combining all of these different tools, because you're going and logging into 17 different platforms to accomplish something that, one, maybe you shouldn't be focused on right now. Pillar 5 will help you understand that. But 2, if you do need to focus on this, at least it narrows it down to all you need to do right now is build your website. So let's look at that, and then after your website's built, let's talk about running campaigns. Let's turn that on. There's so many, the step-by-step that you need to do, allowing, just that lack of visibility into things that aren't important gives you that focus on things that are.
Awesome. All right, everybody. It's been a great morning. Thank you to Keisha King-Brown for joining us this morning. Thank you to iDo Systems and LA Tribune for sponsoring today's show. Friday, 7 a.m. PST. Actually, it's 6 a.m. PST. Join us in Clubhouse, right? Todd, Carlton, Tehran, Keisha. Join us all at Clubhouse Friday mornings. We'd love to see you. Do something today that will help you grow your business. Go to pillar5.com. Go to Sales Master. Check it out. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you then.
Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts